about. But when the idea about CNG came, everybody bought into it because we have the natural resources. And convert a fossil fuel car into a CNG, the technology is quite very simple. Very simple than the one of a EV that we are talking about right now.
So you would agree that to look at the electric vehicles, to actually purchase and use the electric vehicles would be more expensive than actually converting what we have into CNG cars?
Definitely, not just expensive, but the companies, the motor vehicles that are producing electric vehicle, not many. The ones that started it are the ones that are looking at it from the elite angle, producing it for elite class of people to consume. The one that can come down with lesser expensive or with lesser cost have not been produced because they are looking at it because the technology idea of electric vehicle is very expensive. That's why you don't see majority of the car manufacturing company going into it for mass production. They only do it for certain certain content approval by who want it.
Okay.
And that's why the likes of Elon Musk and other celebrity went for electric vehicle. But if you ask most of them now, how many times they even drive the electric vehicle that we are talking about? Because they know how expensive it is.
Okay. So now, how have Nigerians been about receiving, that's how receptive have we been of electric vehicles?
I can say that many Nigerians accepted it because I remember that period that we were having a shock in crude oil sales. That was when the narrative about electric vehicle came into between 2021, 2020. Mainly after COVID-19, 2021, before we enter 2022, the narrative around electric vehicle became so phenomenal across the world. But the moment we enter 2023, the phenomenon dropped because a lot of reality were now coming on board. Electric vehicle, it has its own challenges. And again, because cars manufacturing company, they don't see the viability of mass production giving them the desired profit because they have to look at the cost and the margin of profit. And when they discover that the margin of profit will be so poor in terms of mass production electric vehicle, they just have to drop the idea. You get it? But the other aspect is this, that the component part that will give them the opportunity to convert a fossil fuel cars into CNG was quite cheap, and the margin of profit is quite very interesting. And that's why for Nigerians, a lot of people who have that mind that, okay, let's go for electric vehicle, but when they look back and see we don't have enough generated electricity, there's no need for going for that. But for CNG, we can go for it. But I'm not really now that the momentum has died down. It is still there. But the problem is just that the car manufacturing company around the world, they have a very slow pace, slow pace or positive look on electric vehicle under mass production because they are not ready to do a mass production electric vehicle which they cannot sell out. And where is the market? Their market is Sub-Saharan Africa. And when you talk about Sub-Saharan Africa, where is the main target? Nigeria. So Nigerians are not ready for it because of our unstable power electricity generation that we are suffering from.
Okay, when we talk about the fact that we don't generate enough electricity, the EVs actually have charging stations which have their own grid. That's their own independent grids to charge from. Where you come, you pay, you charge, you
exactly
leave. So that's the idea. So it's not our own, the country's 4,000 or a bit above 4,000 that we're generating.
Exactly.
So if we have that in place, if we have enough of that in place, would it then be in order for Nigerians to actually start buying the electric cars for use? That's
definitely.
If they have this infrastructure.
Definitely. If it going to have their own grid whereby their own kind of electricity will be generated, maybe like a filling station that will be generating electricity. And mind you, if they are going to generate electricity, is it through solar panel? Is it through wind?
It's through
solar or wind? And again, or is it going to be through generator himself? And again, you must also weigh the component of the vehicles. Now, because the way I've been able to study this electric vehicle is that each company will have its own method and methodology or component part of the kind of voltage or electricity that this vehicle will be consuming as well as be disposing. In a sense that, let's say for example, if a car A is produced, the company of that car A will ensure that the kind of voltages that the cars will be taking in is specifically insured. And where that particular car will be taking or getting its electricity will also make sure that it doesn't go beyond or below that particular range of electricity. If it is 40 volt, it must not go below 40 volt. And when it is generated, it must not be adulterated electricity, whereby we normally suffer high voltage here in Nigeria. So all those two we put into cognizance of the kind of voltage that electricity car will be enjoying. Now, if some and his car battery died before he wake up in the morning, and his own car, he has to push the car to where he's going to get it. So what will he, and he has electricity in Nigeria in his house that he can use.
I don't think there will be the possibility of pushing, because one of those cars actually, the battery ran out of battery on the bridge in Lagos, and
he stopped there. He just hooked there.
Yes.
So when you
it has to be towed.
So when you consider all this disadvantage of electricity vehicle against fossil fuel or CNG, you discover that people will still look at this other one, that this one is still easier. But where I have issue is this: the car manufacturing companies are not ready for mass production. They are still produce elite class electricity vehicle, or EVC for short. They are not ready to produce for the kind of people like me and you to come and pick on the shelf. They are producing for celebrity who will say specifically, this is what I want. I want a 80 volt cars. I want a 120 volt
We
cars.
just need to drive around.
Exactly. That will last them for 1 month. They will not bother charging anything. But the companies are looking at how they can quickly mass produce and make more money. The elite class that they are producing is not giving them the money. It is only when they mass produce they can get the money. But is the market ready for such mass production? Is the environment ready for such mass production? Is the people themselves ready, like Nigeria, which is the target of this cars manufacturing company? Are we ready for it? And globally also, it has been pushed. It's one of those agenda through the COP28 conference of parties on environmental climate issues, pushing for electric vehicle to come on board. But they also know that it is also a cost-effective policy that is going to be inequality in the society, and that's why they are managing it in that regard.
Talking about environment, yes, it's the best kind of cars for the environment, and in places like Lagos, where we have a high concentration of people and very, very high pollution from cars like our buses and our taxis, SUVs. Would you say Nigeria should actually really look into the possibility of making it work? Or should we come down and just rest and take to heart the CNG that our government is pushing on us?
It's a good thing that we take it also, but taking it to quickly jettison the fossil fuel cars also. We have to balance the three, in a sense that how can we manage EVS cars in our society to ensure that environment is clean. CNG also is also good for the environment, although it has its own implication too. Sure. Then the fossil fuel, which we have all regarded as the most dangerous in terms of pollution for the environment, how do we ensure a just transition from one to the other? Okay, and transition means that we have to allow the entire environment, not just care about the environment alone, because when we say we care for the environment, means we also care for the human beings. So how do ordinary people who have been driving their keke Marwa and the rest of them, which is fossil fuel, how would they be able to transit into a CNG or into electric vehicle that will not be too cost bearing on them? We have to look at that. Then how we also ensure that the transition will not lead to a wider gap of inequality, because one thing about I've been able to unravel through my research on understanding either on artificial intelligence, either